Hi, I'm Faiza Bouguessa, and this is the Bouguessa Voice, where we explore how creative dreams become reality and how the Middle East is shaping the future of global luxury. When I started Bouguessa 11 years ago, I had no access to mentors in the region. I wish I had heard stories like today's guests. Today, I'm honored to welcome a true pioneer of luxury in our region, Patrick Chalhoub. As CEO and now Executive Chairman of the Chalhoub Group, he has been at the heart of building one of the Middle East's most influential luxury empires, partnering with the world's leading brands and shaping the way we experience luxury here at home. Patrick, thank you for joining me on the Bouguessa Voice, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure.
Thank you, Faiza. It's a pleasure also to be with you.
Patrick, I would like to start straight away with going back to the origins of your story. And I would love to hear a little bit about the initial vision of your parents when they started the company.
So we are going back 70 years because this year we are celebrating 70 years.
Congratulations.
And in fact, my father and mother were living in Damascus in Syria. And they were always wondering what could they do which could give an impact in their life. And they were very attracted by the French culture. They were very attracted by refinement, by luxury, by beauty. And one day they met the wife of an ambassador at a dinner at her home. And she was complaining that she was not finding nice cutlery in Damascus. And they took the gap as an opportunity. And they tried to make some research what could be brought as cutlery to Syria. And this is how they started the career by importing Christophe in Syria and opening a very small kiosk of 20 square meters to sell cutlery in Syria. But very quickly they realized that Syrian market is a very small market, especially when we're speaking at the 50 for luxury cutlery. And this is where they said, if we need to develop, how are we going to do it? And they felt that it was important, if they want to develop, to either increase the category. So they brought Baccarat Crystal, they brought a perfume Jean Patou. At the same time, they started thinking, let's go beyond Syria. And this is where my father took his suitcases and came and visited the Gulf for the first time, trying to sell those products in other markets than Damascus. And this is how the adventure have started. And at that time, I'm not sure that there was a vision more than intuition, and an intuition of trying to bring this refinement, this beauty to our part of the world. And when even my father visited Kuwait, Dubai in 59, Saudi Arabia, there was no network of distribution. There was few families, wealthy family or rulers who had some wealth. So it was more business to the consumer directly, and was more representing those brands because they didn't have the means to buy and to resell everything. So it has built up in a vision, but always the same idea, how bring a beauty, refinement, quality to this part of the world.
Interesting to actually realize that it actually started with a focus on luxury from day one. And then I think that you became co-CEO, I'm skipping a week part of the journey here, with your brother Anthony in 2001. What is from the part of the vision of your parents did you keep in your vision, and in what ways did you and your brother decide to diverge and take new risks? We
have been a little bit formatted to this fact. I did a year outside the group in the States selling razors with Gillette in the marketing. And I would say so the initiation period was long, and we were probably more patient than the new generation of today into doing it. And I would say personally, and before I became co-CEO with my brother, I really tried to develop the business outside Kuwait, because Kuwait was the base, but it was the main market. So to develop it in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, but always as a distribution agent. I would say in 2001, when we took over as co-CEO, what we definitely kept are the value, which was really since the beginning, value of respect, value of trust, value of quality, not only bringing the quality, but excellence in the way we are doing. What we brought more in terms of culture was, I would say, some resilience, some risk into the way of doing business. What we bring more is change the business model. We became distributor, we became a retailer, and gradually we have moved into, I would say, quite different businesses and e-commerce, etc. What changed also, I would say, is creating a team, talented people, motivated people, people whom we could put together, who had not only to understand the culture of the group, but to live this culture, and at the same time collaborate and work together. What we really, I would say, emphasize a lot is really building this trust relation. Trust with our team and employee, trust with our customer and the network, trust with our partners, suppliers, etc. So I would say we moved it with the same foundation, but we scale it up with, I would say, a very strong team and a very strong culture of the group.
Very interesting. It's nice to see that your parents really were the foundation in terms of the excellence vision, but you added the ambition to actually go beyond what was, initially created, and expanded the group and the company this way. And what I like mostly is the fact that you're talking about also building the structure, because I think it's challenging for any business who was born from the region, and I think there's a lot that can relate, is to go from the small business mentality to adding the structure to envision a bigger future for that company.
And I would say we cannot have all the competence of the world. I'm not the best marketeer, I'm not the best salesman, I'm not the best legal guy, I'm not the best financial guy, etc. So this is why we create a certain team. Core team who can bring this expertise and this competence into doing it. We have worked, and we still are working sometimes with very competitive brand. So it's very important that each one of those brands has its own team, and for the consumer that he feels really that he is entering within a certain environment which is not mixed with each other. And then I would say into our culture we have really moved on in order to move from a culture which was very hierarchized, very paternal, and I have nothing against, because it was the size when I joined the company we were 100 people, today we are 16,000, very paternal, to a stronger governance, and where I would say we create a kind of ecosystem.
Yeah.
So it's not a hierarchy where everything has go to the boss and the boss of the boss and the boss of boss and no one take responsibility. It's a culture where each one feel responsible and accountable, which means that we accept that our teams makes error. We accept that our team, it's not a nuclear bomb which we are going to do. So makes mistakes, learn from the mistake, and move forward into doing it. We don't encourage the mistakes, but we don't punish the mistakes. We more than tolerate about it. So this is culture, and also a culture where a boss is more, I would say, it's a reverse pyramid. So the boss is sitting at the bottom of the pyramid and he's supporting his team. Of course, he's giving a vision and a direction, but at the same time, he's here to support the team. So the highlight is on the team who is working together, and not the highlight is centered on the top of it.
I feel that that's what you're modeling now, that actually your son, Michael, is going to actually carry forward from the foundations and the values that you have, brought, and your parents into the group. And what do you think he will bring into the group that's uniquely his?
The selection process of finding the next CEO has been a selection process made by the outside member of the family, from outside board members, in order to make sure that we could get the CEO who would be the most qualified in order to take it over. So the choice, which seems a lot of people a very normal choice of having my son taking over as a CEO, has been through a process which involved 10, 15 candidates out of a 30 selection before coming to it. I'm sure that Michael is fundamentally very attached to the same value and the same culture, which is a big plus which we will have into the future. Michael will definitely bring this freshness from where come. So this more disruptive, I would say, a look which is different, definitely more educated as well. But also I would say it's important that Michael is able to express himself and move it forward. So Michael, before he took this position, have allowed us to move in other territories. We opened in Latin America very successfully, in Africa successfully, took us in different other direction and has been able to move it forward. And I really hope that we will maintain this entrepreneurial spirit, which sometimes in bigger organization could be lost. And he really is portraying this entrepreneurial mindset, this we can do it, let's do it, and let's move it on.
That's amazing. Now that Michael took over as CEO, you remain the executive chairman. What does it mean for Patrick? Who are you now and what is your role? And does it mean that you get to focus more on passion projects?
I would say the first thing, I don't feel the weight of the daily responsibility on my shoulders. I don't know how it could exist. Some people say I'll be out of business. I really am out of those daily details which can follow me, the 300 emails I received a day where I have to make sure that things are happening, worrying about everything. So it gave me a freer mind, which enabled me to look at the things with more distance and probably to bring another insight to Michael and his team with un peu de recul. I mean, taking a little bit a back step into it. I definitely am here to support Michael and his team and to give them some word of wisdom, to give them some element, not to impose anything of them. I'm not anymore a member of the executive committee, etc. So it gives me time, I would say, for myself, for my family, for my children and my grandchildren family, for few of projects which I have in heart, some entrepreneurial as well, but also for the group in a different perspective into it. It gave me more time to build even a stronger relation which I have. And as you said, I have few things which passionate me. I'm very passionate about sustainability. We're having a word about it. I'm very passionate about mentoring. Even this morning, I have mentoring with some of new entrepreneurs which were being there and moving them forward. I'm passionate about certain category of perhaps products which doesn't enter in our portfolio, product of the terroir, of the etc. So it gave me probably
more
better
freedom.
quality of life. So I have a rule of retiring at 65. Probably we'll have to change it like in France to a little bit later. And maximum to prolong 2 years. I'll turn 68, and it was very important also to make sure that we have this rule. But what we do when people retire, especially into the senior roles, they stay in a mentoring program. They stay as advisor, as support, as giving this wisdom for some years as consultant. So I'm doing exactly the same thing, and I hope I'll still bring value to the group.
For sure, without a doubt, because I think that, like you said, it's all about the perfect balance between the entrepreneurial mindset, which for sure you have brought to the group as well. Now you have also taken many years to focus on structuring the group, and you have achieved both. So now you can just go back and just spreading the wisdom to anyone who's interested, and I think we're all interested.
Thank you.
Patrick, the GCC Personal Luxury Report from the Chalhoub Group indicates that online luxury sales in the GCC are growing faster than anywhere else in the world. What digital innovations is the Chalhoub Group implementing to enhance the online luxury experience?
Our belief is we should avoid speaking about the two different channels of distribution. For us, it's a brand, a product, and a consumer. And how are we going to make sure that we connect them to each other? And obviously, into the best and the most convenient way to our customer. So what we really focus on is to try to give a seamless journey between online and offline, a real navigation journey where we take the best of the online and put it offline, and the best of the offline, put it online, which is not done, but it's always into the process. So really trying to make sure that we can have the widest possible collection, but also present it with some storytelling, some stories, and some movement. Try to have the best possible delivery time, because people would like to have it yesterday, to deliver it in 2 hours if we can, which with an excellent service, to deliver it with white gloves, because we are expecting for luxury products to have a better delivery, an easy return into doing it, but also to try to give them some capacity of talking and speaking to one of our customer care service in order to be able to facilitate his doing it. Today, our online business this year has grown about 13%. Our offline is growing about 4-5%. Globally, we are growing at 6-7%, much better than other parts of the world, and we are blessed for it. But at the same time, the all online is about 15% of the business. But I don't mind if it goes to 80 or if it's remained at 15, as long as we give the same wow effect, delighting effect to our customer, and we make this permanent improvement in the services which we are giving to our customers.
And I agree with you. I think like this nowadays blurred lines between online and offline. One year we hear that online is the best big thing, and then the year after is like everyone's going back to offline. People still want to have this experience, shopping and being in touch with someone. So I think your approach is exactly right. It should be just focusing on the interaction, making sure that customers have access to someone, but also are being recognized for their size, their name, they are, and so I think you have great points here. Patrick, I believe that you once considered studying mathematics applied to the brain, which relates very closely to AI nowadays. So what is your approach with AI? What's your take on AI? Do you feel that it's something that needs to be incorporated in companies? Is there a way that you're working on it right now?
I must say, I have always been fascinated by mathematics. I have very strong mathematics. And it was my dream to work on mathematics and apply it to the brain. And now it's very close to what AI. I have a nephew who have taken now even a PhD in AI. We are strong believers that we have to encompass all the new technologies which are coming into it. Not to be the first one to do it, but to try to do it very correctly. I think the AI is a game changer, and we are going to a new phase like when we started into the digital, and it will go exponentially and much faster than other innovation which we have been there. So definitely we are encompassing it. We have tried to develop few programs. The first one is a learning program to make sure that we have our teams who are totally familiar with what AI is. With a compulsory program where all our employees have to have the basic course online, but also the pitfalls which they should avoid, and not only a part of it, and making sure that they can move it on. We have tried to also encourage a lot of the initiative some of our team members have been able to do, and to create a center for the AI which could give them the support and the expertise if they need in order to encourage them
to use it
in a different use in our supply chain, our legal department, in the administrative department, in our creative department, in our marketing service, in all those aspects. And a lot of our team members are much more knowledgeable than we could imagine, but it was important also to give them the support and certain basics, and even more than the certain basics. The biggest initiative we have taken now is to make sure that we can access the AI and put all our data into the system without others being able to use our data. So we are building a proprietary AI with our team and with ChatGPT in order then to be able to offload all our data and be able to use it without having people who will access it. So hopefully before the end of the year we will be able to kick it off.
That makes so much sense. I want to talk about sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think you have a very strong people culture as well. In your report of 2024, you highlight impressive developments in people culture. So internally, Chalhoub has been, very ahead of the curve with women in leadership and family-friendly policies. Which of those people-focused initiatives do you feel really that shifted the culture of the group?
I mean, if I start by sustainability, as I mentioned, a family business, their biggest priority is to create a sustainable business. How can we create a sustainable business if we are in a world which is not sustainable? So we have been extremely engaged to make sure that we also participate to create a more sustainable environment. Very linked in order to be able to support. We want to be net zero by 2040. We started very early, like 15 years ago. We became activists, I would say, into the domain, and we involved a lot of awareness to our team, but a lot of program in order to measure our level of pollution, if I could say, and making sure that we improve it year after year after we reach into doing it. Really activists in this term of it. On diversity and inclusion, we are a group of 60,000 people with 125 nationality. How are we going to I would say, integrate those cultures together? We are a group where the average age is 32 years old, but we have people who joined us after their schools or after their graduation program, so at 19, 21, 22, 23 years. And we have, I would say, the older generation who are 60, 65, or also some of our advisors who are in their 70 or more 70. How can we integrate it? So for us, this inclusion part has been extremely essential. And we really are trying to make sure that we take the steps, not only to tick numbers, but really to get the qualification. So we don't try to hire a woman because it's a woman, but we try to really give this empowerment moving it. Today in our leadership, we have 40% of women. In our group, we are 70% of women. In the group, we have encompassed the Emiratization, Saudization, Gulfanization, etc. And we never speak about religion, about gender, or about politics or nationality. So really blending the people together. And a lot of steps are being really taken to maintain this spirit of integration and inclusion within the group. And I must say, we have very good results. If we could mix them together, we have very good results in order to get all those different sensitivities.
I have to say that the reports are very impressive, and you really have clear steps and measures and incentive for your staff and your team to actually achieve all of these sustainable and people culture objectives. And I'm sure it's very positive overall.
Yeah, it is. And we don't only look at the results today, but also how it will be tomorrow. So to make sure that in the pipeline, we are really moving into doing it. And I would say into the woman, it's not only recruiting more women, but understanding that women could have other priority in their life, could build a family, give birth to children, they have the initial responsibility, at least at a younger age, and how can we create an environment which is helping them. Sometimes they interrupt their career for a good reason for their family, which should remain their priority, but so they lose few years compared to other genders. How are we going to make sure that they will be able to cope with it and to move into it? So we don't want to get women but exclude those who have children or exclude those who want to take a break in their life. So it's deeper than just numbers.
Yeah.
It goes.
And you also have,
depth.
I think, a longer paternity leave
We moved the
in your
paternity leave now at 30 days, which was a step. And one day it will be, I'm sure, as per when my son, who is now the CEO, gave birth, we're giving 3 days paternity leave. And I think that in our today world, the father has a big responsibility as well, and he loves to do it, not only to support the mother, but also to support the family. So and obviously it means some time where they are not at work, but the motivation it gives is much beyond the time which they would be taking off.
I think, would you say that, because the UAE almost has in itself this entrepreneurial mindset, would you say that this is something that inspires you to actually create those, change the rules basically, like what we expect from a group doesn't apply to your group because you're inspired by the UAE and the way it's completely changing the expectations of
absolutely. We have a fantastic leadership, visionary, and pushing it forward into it. We are in a place where it's very entrepreneurial and supportive. So we are being taken in the right sense of the wind. We would be in a country where there is so much regulation and so much policies that it will be probably much more difficult.
So you've also made big commitments with net zero by 2040. Why do you feel it's so important for luxury group like Chalhoub to be one of the region leader in environmental change?
As I said, it is a family belief, a cultural belief that we need to work into doing it. If we do nothing, and I feel it has to be from the individual part, from companies part, and from government and regulatory part. I'm not at all keen to say everything has to be regulated and coming from up to down from the government. The pressure is coming from down. And today, we were speaking about recruiting talent. The young recruit whom we have are really very sensitive to the fact of our commitment to the sustainability, etc. But it's a true belief. And having said that, I'm totally convinced that if we do nothing, this planet will not exist. If we do nothing, we will create tension socially, which we have to move forward.
And I think you even have an incentive or like a bonus related to that goal of net zero.
Absolutely, we are. It's part of the KPIs which we give to our leaders and to the leadership team in order to achieve all the targets which we fix year after year in order to, in terms of moving towards net zero, which we measure and we try to accelerate.
Which is a great approach.
And we are not there. And the biggest difficulty all companies have is that there is 3 categories of pollution which are giving. For us, probably 85% of it is coming not from us, but because we take a plane, because we transport the goods, because we buy merchandise of it, which means that we have a big awareness program to our suppliers, and we impose a lot of things to them in order to make sure that they move also to the net zero. We even created an action with the different malls. It was difficult to put Amar and MAF and Aldar together in order to, and LVMH and us in order to together go towards net zero. So we have to have a collective effort. We do it also with the Luxury Brand Association, the Comité Colbert, Middle East region, in order to move together. So the awareness is for our supplier, for our clients, if we go on wholesale, but also for our peers.
It's a collective effort. It's really interesting. When it comes to companies who are actually, just starting or at a much smaller scale as a group like yours, do you think it would be harder or easier for them to implement those kind of elements of sustainability and these focuses that you have implemented in your group?
So I would say the most important and critical part is the willingness to do it or not. Big or small, if there is the willingness, then you dedicate the budget and you do it. It is, in my opinion, easier when you are a startup or a small company, because you can, since inception, do it and have the effect, and the impact will not be big into it. If the willingness is not there, and you say, because you have so many priority when you start up a business and so many other costs which are linked to them, and you want to reduce costs, and you say it's not a priority, then it becomes much harder to do it. But the willingness and motivation to do it is the key elements.
I think it's exactly correct, and I think it starts from a deeper feeling. For me, it happened around COVID, where I felt very uncomfortable, and I was not doing anything. The company was not doing anything, and of course, we won't have the tools that a group like yours has access to actually implement such big changes. But we have an understanding that this is part of our initiative, that we can contribute to a better impact, or to lesser impact on the environment. And so we put together lists of things that we had to start implementing. And it's a constant effort, and we know that we'll never be perfect, but we would just have to work towards it and to be aware of it. It just needs to become a priority and something that everyone should focus on. We all part of this change.
Yeah, individually. Collectively, business-wise or government-wise.
So, Patrick, I wanted to ask you something about yourself and give us a little bit of wisdom. You inspire a lot of people in business, entrepreneurs, and I'm sure a lot of people around you also in your company. Who inspires you? Who inspired you, and who is inspiring you today?
So I don't know if I inspire people, but what I try to do it with humility and being true to myself, and hopefully it could be inspiring. In my readings, I love biographies. I really love biographies, and what I love in biographies, some are not really reflecting the personality of the people, etc. But you learn a lot about experiences of others and how they will be able to portray it. So who inspires me? General de Gaulle inspires me. Who inspires me? Gandhi inspires me. Nelson Mandela inspires me. Whom in the business world inspire me? I would say Jacques Welch inspired me in certain aspects. One business leader which I really enjoyed a little bit, because he was speaking about values, etc., is Robert Iger, who was the CEO of Disney. If you read one of his books, you have a lot of elements going more to the culture of the company than to the exerting of the business. But having said that, when I'm with some startups or with some student in college, or I'm mentoring someone, I always feel that I learn from them as much as they learn from me. Just if they ask a question, I feel that it makes me think and learn from it, but also they have an innocence. I feel quite an inspiration.
That's the reason why I wanted to have you here, is because the first time that I met you, I was honestly very surprised. And I'm sure it's the case with many people on other levels, but I was very surprised with your humility, and you feel like a family member in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're so approachable, and I was really inspired by that. Yeah. So,
but it helps me as well. This is why, perhaps, and I'm happy if people feel like this, but it helped me also to connect better with the people, so to get to learn from them. If not good,
I know what you mean. And so you're talking about biographies. You're considering writing your own one day?
My wife
is pushing
me, and even to do something together. I'm not ready. I'm not sure I will. If I do something, I have one, to be convinced, and two, to make sure it will have an impact. So it's not the proudness. And if one day I do it, I'm not sure I will put my name, but then it will have no meaning for anything. So I'm not ready.
I think write it with the intention of not putting your name, and then see at the end. But I think, one thing that also encouraged me to do this podcast is actually, I heard someone say that you have to remove yourself especially if you feel like it's too personal, or you don't want to, you don't find that you have anything interesting to share, and just think about people who might be interested. I would personally be interested in reading your biography, and I'm sure many other people would be, especially because the time when you actually ran your business and took over is such a critical time where so many changes happened during that period. And so I think it would be really, really an interesting piece to read.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
And just you being here and sharing your perspective is already a big thing for the community. I'm hoping that people will be learning a lot from this. I want to move to my closing reflection. You know this quote: there's a time when what you have now was once something you wished for or dreamt for. Was there a time when the life you have today was just a dream or was just a vision? And if you could go back in time to the version of you who was dreaming of what you have today, who would that be? When would that be?
I hope I will not disappoint you. I haven't reached what I dream to be.
I love that.
I haven't reached what I wanted to do. I think that I've dedicated a lot of my efforts and my life to build an organization, a company, hopefully a family which is there. I would really dream to be more impactful for my community than I have been and where I am, and I could be probably I get a lot of satisfaction if I could be able to give back. It has always been in my mind in how can I help. You said a young child, so I'm speaking like a young child. How can I change the world? And when I look, I say, the world of today, I always dream to be better than when I was at a young age. I feel I'm leaving to my children and grandchildren a much worse world. So I'm not, I'm far off. So I have a lot of enthusiasm, but if I could contribute to make it a better world, I would be very happy. Not to claim it on my name, but just to...
But I understand. That's beautiful. First of all, I think you didn't understand what I was saying is that helped me, because I hear this a lot where people telling me, do you realize what you have done and everything? Your brand is so great and everything. And my answer is exactly yours. It's like, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. But this has helped me where I actually take myself, and it's kind of like a meditation, and myself of today goes to talk to myself when I was dreaming of, this idea of owning a brand, and I tell myself, this is what you have done. And I don't think you hear yourself when you talk. Everything you're saying is you are actually contributing to a better world, because in your way, of course, at your level, and it's quite a big scale, I have to say, you are contributing to a better world. And I understand this is your purpose. So if you were to go back to your younger self today, what would you tell yourself? Or an advice that you would give yourself?
I mean, definitely be yourself. Really, be yourself. And sometimes I have tendency to be too diplomatic. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take the form, but avoid compromises in being ourselves, etc. Definitely be patient and persistent. Patience is important, not stupidity, but patience and persistence, because things could take more time and we shouldn't give up too quickly. Then I would say, which could be more than a learning, not losing yourself. I mean, a human being have several aspects. He has his business, he has his family, but he has himself also. So I would say probably during the years or some years, I lost myself because a lot to my family. I will never compromise, and it's never enough. A lot for my business, perhaps also without being selfish, time for yourself and time for your community, because the bigger crowd is also, you are part of it and you have to contribute into doing it.
Thank you so much, Patrick. It was such an interesting conversation, and I really appreciate that you took the time for us.